Hello, this is Captain Poodle speaking. Are you ready to find love?
Yes, ahoy, matey.
Love. Exciting and new. Go online. They're catfishing you.
Shocker.
Fiancé. Soon you'll be flying to parts unknown. 90-day Beyonce. Marrying someone you only met on your phone. Be they French or Chinese, a brand new K1 visa's the key.
Ooh, the key to what, Poodle?
To love.
It's reality gate.
Let's love.
God, this took hours to get just to this moment.
We had to get my rug situated.
His rug situated, his pillows, the sound recording.
No. I said we'll do it. We'll do it when I have a chance. But you had to take it upon yourself to flounce around and tell me how it should be. That's the title of my autobiography, the 5th volume. Flouncing around and telling how it should be.
I just showed you how it should be done.
No,
You splayed your rug out on the corner where it wasn't even close to where you were putting it. And then I actually kind of lined it up and you saw it. You're welcome.
You did none of that. The amount of falsehoods you put out in this world.
Let's just talk
Let's talk about the show.
Y'all,
this is Reality Gaze.
Reality Gaze, and this is Single Life. Tell All Part 2.
The Reckoning.
1, episode 26. It should be called The Reckoning.
The Singling. Single Life 2.
The Singling.
Single Life Tell All Part 2. The Singling.
I don't think...
The Crowing.
We don't have any special announcements. I mean, we talked about Smothered's coming out on the 31st.
We're going to get double doses of either mother and sister shows.
It's going to be glorious.
I'm not ready.
I'm ready.
So have they announced who the new mothers are? We've just seen.
You know, they showed a commercial apparently during 90 Day.
But I'm saying we have seen the mom who has the lesbian daughter, and the mom wants to put the turkey baster in her.
Yeah. It's going to be good.
Yeah. So for those of you who love their reality shows with a lot of cringe and trauma, get ready for Smothered.
Get ready for Smothered. Oh.
There's no, as we said before, there's no Elena and Marcia.
No.
There's no Mary and Brittany.
No.
Oh, which hurts. And there's no Sarah and Lori, it looks like.
Thank
which
God.
that I'm fine with. I wonder if Lori died. I
hope not. Speaking of, y'all, if I have to pause this show, it's because I ordered my dad a pizza, and I don't know if it's going to get there from Pizza Hut or not. They wouldn't let me put in all the instructions I normally put in. Normally I say, please deliver to this room, da-da-da, fill out the form, da-da-da. That's what I do on Postmates. This one I said, all they let me write was, patient Chelsea Marr in the hospital, room this.
So there's no needy father with cancer option.
I'm just trying to get him to eat. Anyway, he's
y'all, but he needs a specific pizza.
He's doing better. He's in physical rehab right now. His dog Emmy almost died because she ate something, but she passed it. Aunt Peggy's been watching the dog, and she said, Matthew, that dog finally passed it because I prayed about it. It's because she said, I got an 800 number to Jesus, and he hears me.
Okay, that's been today's Home Health Minute.
Call me if you've got an 800 number to Jesus.
That there's no others.
Let me know.
Y'all,
we need to talk about Brittany.
So we experienced the first part of the tell-all, which I thought was pretty exciting.
We enjoyed it. This wasn't terrible overall.
Wasn't terrible.
It was better than the regular tell-all.
It was better than those Zoom tell-alls. Y'all, Brittany has graced us with her presence, not in person, but on the phone.
All two of them.
And
And by that, I mean her gigantic
jugs.
I mean, I'm all about
She got new bazoombas, y'all.
do what you want with your body. That's fine. And that's great.
Yeah.
She shouldn't give any fucks to what I say. But when I think she's a beautiful woman. But
Yeah.
the dress she was, and I was just like, holy
But no,
tits.
these are absurdly large
They're-
now. This is
They're absurdly large.
this is to a point where we're trying to get to. They become conversation pieces.
She's gunning for like an OnlyFans or something.
Yeah,
Like,
or she wants to be famous for being a reality star.
yeah.
Even though part of the idea about that is to be easy to work with and actually be
Show
on the show.
Show up.
Yeah.
So let's jump into this, and we actually had a Sissy Brianna, I believe, who is a black woman who messaged me about this, and I was glad because I watched this and I went, I've had several black female actor friends, and I'm sure you have too, that have talked about they'll go to hair and makeup, and it's just like nobody knows how to fucking do their hair,
Right. No.
and it's
that is something we have heard before.
and it's an actual big problem. Now, she is in the middle of New York City,
and
so
this
it's
was
not-
the night before.
well. And as our Sissy Brennan said, she said basically, you can't tell me that Brittany doesn't have like 3 lace fronts in her suitcase,
Right.
and she said she totally used
She
this
could
as
have
an
brought wigs.
she used this as an excuse.
She brought 2 wigs to Jordan.
Yeah, she did. This is an excuse just so she doesn't have to face the music.
And you faced repercussions. Y'all, those 2 wigs made it all the way to Jordan. They could have definitely made the
they
schlep
it back
to New York.
She said she was pissed off. She said, as a woman, it pissed me off that she used that excuse.
I think I saw a little bit online. There was another black woman who was saying very similar to what you just said. The saying it was offensive to me that she was using things that happen to us all
that
the time.
happen all the time and are really problems. And
Yeah.
because y'all, if it was a real problem, guess what she could have done? She has the producer's cell phone.
Yeah.
She could have called a producer. She could have, instead of just booking a plane to Houston in the middle of the night
And leaving at 2 a.m.
and not telling
I
anyone.
just
What
was-
a piece of shit
I
thing
just-
to do.
I don't know. Did they have a hair and makeup check the night before?
Well, we've seen Libby's makeup, and we just found out she has a makeup artist, so clearly not.
Ooh.
They could have, or it could have been a bad hairstylist for her, or it could have been, which I'm
But-
more inclined to believe, just Brittany's. Pardon me. I drank a Dr. Pepper Zero. Now
I
I'm having
think
hiccups.
I think
It's an excuse.
she just wanted to leave.
yes, yes,
Yeah. And
It was-
also not to call them and not to show up.
It was horribly disrespectful.
I just think, you guys, there's something in the entertainment industry, not like we're that high up in it, but
No, but in the alleys, in the alley behind Trader Vic's in downtown L.A.
I'll tell you what, though, I'm 15 minutes early for my show in the alley.
You are.
Because that's called
That's
professionalism.
professionalism.
Because early is on time. And on time means you get a used condom thrown at you.
True. True.
You don't want that, by the way.
Well, it's not bad.
So, but, y'all, these are the things that no one will ever want to work with you for.
Yeah.
And if she wants to be a rapper, she wants to be an influencer, no one's going to want to work with her.
Even the producers of the show are like, we would like to have you on again because you're good television, but if we can't expect for you to show up.
And they
just
can't
be there-
insure her. They can't insure.
Can't insure Brittany.
They can't insure her because they can't promise she's going to be there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So, y'all, she's got a lot of good things to say. She says she also says the hotel did not meet her standards. Did you get that?
and she never
Nor the
answered that.
hairstylist.
You know, Sean even said, she was like, "You look beautiful, but where were you?" And she's like, "Well, the hotel wasn't to my liking,
Right.
And the hairstylist didn't want to do my hair, and so that's when we found out she's back in Houston." And Sean was like, "So you did not miss the reunion because you're dating someone else?" And she was like, "No, I'm not dating someone else."
Just Max, my dog. Now, I doubt they put them up at the Four Seasons,
No.
but it probably wasn't a Sleep Inn either.
Or Wyndham Suites. I'm sure it was at least a Embassy Suites.
And it was probably somewhere near the studio.
Yeah,
So this is
Kelly
y'all-
said she's full of shit.
and the funniest thing was he was the kind of the first one that says this is all bullshit. She's full of it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, when Fernanda's calling you a diva, that's saying something. That's like Poodle saying that person's
That's
high
a
maintenance.
diva.
That's like Poodle saying that's high maintenance.
now that's high maintenance. So anyway, she says I think Terrence is still out there, and Sean asks, "What about this ghosting that you've done to Terrence?" And Brittany's like, "Well, really, there's just no reason, no place in my life for games. I
laugh.
about dropped my pad."
Says Ready Player One, the biggest game player.
Right?
Like
This idea of she would ghost people. Y'all, ghosting's a game.
she really needs long-term individual therapy.
And it's a shame because everything, it makes me think that everything she said on the show about wanting to be learning to date again she wasn't sincere about it. Everything was a pose. Everything,
Yes.
she didn't want to change her behavior.
She didn't want to.
It was all waiting for something to happen to her.
She got me. I thought she had a change of heart.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I wasn't always convinced, but I was kind of thinking something would happen.
I thought maybe, yeah.
I was never sold on it when she made that quick turn to Terrence. She's like, "I think you may be husband material." You mean the fact you had one date
One
with him
date.
and then you forgot about
But he
him?
wasn't there for her during her surgery, apparently. That's what she said. And that's why she's like, that's why I'm leery to communicate with you. And Molly's like, we got up hella early. This is really disrespectful.
Right. No wonder they're pissed off.
And maybe I wrote this, but I wrote, your issues are way more than your hair.
I think it's
Someone said
interesting
that, but
where
anyway. Colt said that, I think.
boy, you mean the truth teller of the tell-all?
You mean, yeah.
Also known as the person we really root for, and I kind of hate myself that I'm saying that.
Bubba Colty, like the wisdom of grandmother. Ugh.
So one thing here is she told Terrence, "When I call you, it seems like you're not interested in talking to me." And I said, she's the one who's not interested in communicating. She's the one who's blocking him. She's the one who's...
Yeah.
Because everything she does is so surface.
It's so surface, and also it's so... Y'all, she feels like shit about herself.
Oh, yeah.
It's so self-sabotaging. I bet you Terrence says things like, hey, well, I'll call you later. I've got to, go to work, and then I've got to, I've got to run some errands and pick up some stuff for my grandmother, but then I'll call you back around 4.
Yeah.
If Taryn gets busy or hung up in a line at Walgreens and calls her back at 4:30, I bet she's like,
Blocks
why
him.
weren't you thinking of me?
Blocks him.
I bet she does that.
Yeah.
The thing that I'm more concerned about, unless he just wants to be on TV, and he doesn't seem this way, why the fuck is Terrence still with her? Boy, get a spine, stand up for yourself, and
maybe her magic
leave.
box is that good.
He never got it.
Oh, I thought he did.
Oh wait, no, he did. He did get it. Yeah, maybe.
But Justin wasn't going to get it because he needed that before he went back to
Yeah.
Detroit.
Yes,
Or not Detroit, just to Canada.
somewhere.
Yeah, that's why I thought the whole season for her was kind of a pose. I don't think any of it was authentic at all.
Now that I agree.
Yeah,
I think Brittany's just
because we questioned a lot of why she would do things, why she would say things, why she had quick turnarounds, and she was just all kind of just snowing us.
I mean, really, she was so lucky to get approached to be on the Single Life after the way she dogged the crew.
Right?
Which the other way, I'm surprised that they let her do it.
She went off on Instagram, you
But
guys.
after this, They must, unless she just brings in tons of rating. I can't imagine them having her on the show.
Doubtful. Yeah.
Oh, good. So
I think was that basically it for her. Molly goes in on her, and
Molly goes in it.
Terrence leaves,
and Sean says the other couples are upset, and Brittany's like, "You don't understand my needs," and Molly's like, "She's full of shit."
Brittany
And so-
also says there were other. Sean tries to ask Brittany. She says, "Well, there were also other issues," and Sean says, "What other issues?" She refuses to bring those up.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's almost this kind of,
So we can't empathize with you if you don't give us information.
and that's been the problem with her the entire season. Which means she's closed off, and either something traumatic happened, or she refuses to make any attempt to better herself at all.
We got played, y'all.
I think we got played.
I think we
Yep.
got played.
Anyway,
You liar!
You
Liar!
oh wow,
Liar!
like if you open up my head, nothing is inside. What's happening, y'all? What is up with Brian?
What is up with Brian? Now, look. So let's talk about Jess.
Talk about an empty-headed stare. Like, if you look in his eyes, there's just nothing there. Just tumbleweeds blowing.
Blowing. Let's talk about Colty and Jess, or Colty and Vanessa. But Mother Debbie's already on stage, or comes
Yeah.
on, and then Jess is here,
With Brian.
and yes, and
With her
Janessa-
husband.
Jess is very soundbitey. She says one thing and another. I mean, Jess
For
is in the
Colty
right
to
here,
change,
but
he
she's
has
like,
to die and born again.
Born again. Vanessa is a bitch, and she does not respect woman. Then Brian just says, "I'm glad I can be here to call out our lies."
Glad I can be here to call
And
our lies.
And I kind of wanted to be like, "Be gone! You have no power here. This kind of has nothing to do with you, Brian."
Well,
I know you're married to her now.
between that and Luis coming out at the end, I was kind of confused. I understood why Jess and Brian were there. I had no idea why Luis was there. He wasn't on the season.
Well, Jess and Brian were in the season, yes.
Yes.
So
And also, Kelly's brother wasn't even on camera.
I didn't mind that.
I know.
I
He
didn't
is
mind.
hot.
We have
But-
heard from all of you, and yes, Mario.
Yes.
Mario could.
He can get it.
He could get it.
But it's weird. They're just bringing random people on. I feel like they ran out. They had to fill time.
It's like, hey, Tammy, could you get that PA? That what's his name? Donald. Bring him over and let's just have him talk about.
What do you think?
Can he talk about Angela's breast size? Thank you.
So they're talking about Debbie is a snake and surprise
So-
Debbie.
Yeah, exactly. So she's like, and Debbie goes, "Oh, son of a bitch, I can hear him.
I can hear me.
Mom,
Uh-oh.
no, Mom, my mole sense is going off. Alert,
Be quiet, Pee-wee. Pee-wee, settle down.
Oh, I'm so angry. I'm gonna pop a vein in here, Mama.
Pee-wee, I'm getting mad. I'm getting more mad.
Oh no, Mom, I'm gonna fuel your
That
rage.
bitch is gonna come out here. Y'all, Pee-wee loses his mind. But Pee-wee's probably a they.
I think they. And so Pee Wee loses their mind. They come out, and immediately Debbie just goes
She
in on them.
loses it.
She loses it, and she's like, Sean doesn't even have time to introduce them. They're just Debbie's
They
like,
start yelling.
and Brian's like, "You looked happier a year ago. You should be happy too, you snake fuck." I mean, they're just
Yeah,
it's
it was
just
really
screaming.
bad.
I couldn't even write it all down. They're just
And
talking
they
on
asked
top
why
of each
you
other.
hated Jess. And Debbie's like, I hated Jess because she was after Coke when she was all vulnerable.
Daddy's vulnerable. Yeah, Mom. Sean just says, "Wow, what an entrance!"
And then y'all, Brian obviously had jokes planned to use. That he was like writing on notepads, but he forgot them.
He did
So
forget
he-
them.
he
So
had
he
to-
was improving, and
was
y'all,
improving.
he failed Acme Improv level
101.
101. He did not. They asked him.
He's like, when Colt's his little dick, wasn't
Colt-
that cheating?
What? Yeah. And everybody goes like, "Huh?"
It's almost like Brian was
He's real high.
was either high or he almost feels like a fan, like a bad Instagram commenter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like a bad troll.
Yeah.
Is his music good? I hear he's a musician.
It can't be.
He had a music video with Jess in it.
It can't be.
What if it's incredible?
Then someone writes it for him.
It can't be good.
Y'all, there's nothing in that head.
I mean, nothing. Nothing.
You just open it up and there's just spider webs.
Exactly.
And maybe someone playing a Fish album just over and over again.
over and over.
Or Grateful Dead.
My dad's last son loved Fish. Follow them around.
Your dad's last
Or
son?
my dad's last wife. His latest wife. The third one that they're divorcing.
Fish heads.
But her son was a fish head. He's in Colorado at a meth treatment facility now. Southern story, y'all. Southern story.
Sounds like your dad had an impact.
Yeah. He tried. Papa tried.
How many?
He didn't want to work.
Did the others have children? Did the others?
Yeah.
The others of his wives?
Yeah. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Oh, wait, I know that story.
Yeah.
His picker's off.
Oh, as Grandma Hazel said, your picker's off. So now Debbie, so they kind of like get settled down and basically, yes. Debbie's like, I hate that she used her sexuality. She seduced him.
Right. Now, that's not true.
I don't think people seduce Colt.
No.
And so I do want to say, when Brian was talking about Colt's dick, did you see they actually just cut to Sean Robinson's face? And literally, they just could have put a sound effect that went, boing, yoing, 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 yoing.
And she just went,
And so now Brian is yelling at her, telling her to shut the fuck up. And Debbie says, you're telling an old lady to shut the fuck up? Boy, you got class.
and I will say,
You're a fucker.
even Kelly says, y'all don't be telling Debbie to shut up. Kelly is every reasonable person watching the tell-all.
Yes. I will say, though, and some of our sissies, some of them that bother them, too, they've talked about this. Y'all, if you're not in the Facebook group, or if you are in the Facebook group, every time a show airs, just so you know, we do a dedicated
live
post
watch.
to that. Oh, they do a live watch, so you can comment with the other sissies in real time.
Yeah.
And a lot of sissies didn't
So
like...
that's not live watch. It's a, what do they call that?
It's a talk-along. I don't know.
No, it's when this is your thread. It's a discussion
It's a
thread.
discussion thread. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I agree you shouldn't talk like that to elders. But
It's
I
also Debbie.
But it's Debbie. Like
Yeah.
Debbie doesn't respect
No,
them.
she doesn't.
Like she doesn't know Brian at all, and she calls him a piece of shit and trash and a snake and a loser.
Yeah, this isn't-
and tells him to fuck off.
This isn't a lovely grandma, y'all. This is Debbie.
I'm just going to say this. You don't have to do this. I don't think I would do this. But if a 70-year-old tells you to go fuck off, I think you can tell them to go fuck off as well. But I wouldn't do it.
I think you can. I think a lot of them was less about elders and that Brian was coming at an older woman, and it felt threatening.
I get that. The problem is too is that
Kelly was Brian did that too.
Well, because Debbie's an older woman, she actually talks over everyone and bulldozes every conversation. But she gets away with it because of her age.
Yep, it's true.
If she was a young, like Larissa, they would tell Larissa, they'd be like, stop, stop, stop.
So there's this kind of idea of, I wrote down, this is a mess, that Debbie that Vanessa, they were talking about the lies that they were told on the last tell-all. And I wasn't really sure what they were talking about. That I think that Colt had lied to Sean Robinson.
They were talking about, basically, and again, Sean was like, so you lied to me on but basically, Vanessa, they were saying that he didn't cheat on the tell-all.
Oh.
And did he say that in the time frame? And so Vanessa was saying, I was lying, I was covering up for Colt.
Covering up for him, yeah.
And then And Ed tries to pop in and Ed is so excited that somebody might look worse than him. He's like, yeah, that's not a good foundation for a relationship.
Oh.
And I wanted to say, Ed, you cheated on your wife too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, don't you love that? Don't you love when he pops in and tries to point the finger at some other way? It's like was it Jada Essence Hall? Look over there!
Look over there!
Look over there!
Look over there! That was great. So Sean says, "Why did you lie to me, Colt, during the tell-all?" And he said, "I lied." And then Colt says,
"I lied to a lot of people."
I lied to a lot of people,
which is, again, not to praise Colt, but extremely self-aware.
He said, I was ashamed. Yeah, I had a bad habit of lying. I did just wrong. I shouldn't have dated her.
I'll be honest, y'all. When someone goes on television and is that self-aware, I can't help but respect that a little bit.
I can't help but respect him.
And I know some of you, we've said some kind of nicer things about Colt recently, and some people's like, he's still a piece of shit. You guys, you can think anything you want, but I've got to say, I think a lot of that.
I do too.
To go on television and say that.
And maybe he's saying talking points, and maybe
who knows?
Go, but look, it's not like Colt's a murderer or anything. But I do think when do we cancel people completely, or do we also give people a chance to have some self-awareness and possibly change? This isn't a big. Colt's been pretty gross, and I think
yeah.
And I have
Very
called
gross.
him a sociopath, and I worry he's going to kill someone. I kind of take that back a little bit. Not take it back, but this is a different Colt.
Yeah.
But is this a Big Ed or a Mark and Nikki? No.
No, and I think
I'm not saying we like Colt, y'all. We're not saying we're Colty fans. We're just saying respect.
It did seem like Jess and Brian were there just to get a little clout. They were clout chasers.
I agree.
They came on, and she's like, you cheated on your husband, talking to Vanessa. And she's like, yes, I did. And Sean asked...
And why are we talking about Vanessa cheating on her husband?
I know. Who cares?
Well, no, but that's her private information.
Yeah.
It really is none of our business.
Sean says, so how do you guys, talking to Colt and Vanessa, how do you guys trust each other? That's an interesting thing.
It was a great question.
And she just was like, well, and then they hadn't really thought about it. And that's the weird. I think they do kind of belong together.
They do, but they do talk a lot about, I don't know if I can trust you. I don't know, but I don't know if they ever ask themselves, well, what does trust look like?
What
for
is
you?
trust for me?
What is trust? What are actions of trust? What builds trust? I don't think they've done that.
Then,
maybe they're good therapists, Will.
Out of nowhere, unlikely voice of reason, Danielle, says, well, I think her mindset was already done, that she was done with her marriage. And she decided this was a way to already be done with it. That's exactly what happened.
She should have taken time to heal from that relationship.
And everyone gone.
And notice she said, to heal. And I went, to heal.
Like I'm always saying to
You're
you.
saying to me.
To heal. Which is a...
Bravo, Danielle.
Which is a realization.
Bravo, Danielle.
Wow. That we all kind of made.
Wow.
Why do you keep going with that?
Because
it was worth saying.
It was worth an applause.
So basically, so Ed keeps trying to talk, and Debbie's like, "Oh, go on, Dr. Ed.
Go ahead." Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. So
then Jess says, well, Vanessa, you should know this, that when we were together, he said that you weren't even sexy to him. And again, why are you even doing this? Why are you saying this?
Exactly. And so Fernanda and Ed both even kind of talk to Ebby. They're like, you're not really respecting Jess at all and her hurt. Fernanda's like, I see both sides to this. And then Debbie says, I haven't said anything bad about her publicly. And I'm like,
about Jess?
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, you have.
On the show you did.
You did on last season. Like you did.
Yeah.
And so, so that's what Jessica said. And then basically Debbie says, how nice of you to share that. And Colt then says, guess what, everybody?
Everybody?
I love Vanessa. I don't care what any of you think. I don't give any fucks about what you think because I love Vanessa. I said I'm sorry. It's done. And guess what? I've married her and I didn't tell anyone in the fucking room.
Why'd you turn it down? I hate you.
I had to fade out the applause. You know, you could look at the volume button before you press the button.
Details.
So yes, y'all, Colt and Vanessa are married.
Yeah, Maui.
Debbie didn't know. Long of the short of it, Debbie doesn't care. She's happy. She likes them. And Jess even says, that's really good. That I'm happy for you. And then suddenly,
Dubs fly in.
Dubs.
And there's peace
And
in the world.
Debbie looks at Jess and says, look. Because basically, Pee-wee says, look, Mom, if we make peace with him today, I bet you we could kill her in the night next week.
Pee-wee, it's a good idea. We killed the dumb one first.
Oh, he's easy.
What are you saying, Debbie?
And so that's when Debbie says, look, let's just make peace. We'll make peace. So they make peace. It's kind of all, I don't even want to go all through it because it was kind of gross and just, they hug.
It was so weird. And and there was then they went into Ed. They were talking about Ed, suck that tit, asshole, that I had gotten off the tit. P.S. Ed is still trying to make catchphrases of his work.
He is.
It was get off the nipple. He has stickers you can buy. So if you're a big Ed fan, first of all, you can go fuck yourself. First, step one, go fuck yourself. Step two, you can buy all of his merchandise at his Instagram Walmart.
So witty.
Yeah.
So witty.
Seriously, and step three is go fuck yourself again.
That's basically it, y'all. They got married for them. They got married a month ago.
And Jess and Brian go hug Colt and Vanessa. It's so weird.
It's so weird.
It's like a sitcom ending I wrote.
The thing that I'm sure we'll see them on Happily Ever After, but for now, I'm happy to be done with Colt.
Me too. I think they will. They'll be on Happily Ever After.
They'll be on Happily Ever After.
Should we move on to Fernanda? Or let's take a break first.
We'll talk about Fernanda
and Robbie and Noelle.
Yes, we'll be right back.
We're back with Fernanda.
We hope you got
Fernanda.
You got your drink or you sucked a dick or whatever you do during our commercial breaks. We're back.
Sucked a dick.
I mean,
if you do that, more power to you. You walked your dog.
Yeah. I mean, you could suck a dick in a minute if you need to.
You realize that we take a break, there's a commercial, and it may be 3 or 4 minutes. So that's not a very long time to suck a dick.
Done it before. Tell me you haven't when you're in a bind.
Not usually to completion. I just said the word completion.
You know what? Okay, this is a little bit of jumping ahead. Well,
completion.
Remind me, as Sissy read us, she read me for filth on Instagram.
Really?
Yes.
Why can't you say it now? Is it to go with
Because it's
something?
about Big Ed.
Oh.
But I'll get to there.
Okay.
Let's talk about Fernanda first. So it really, her outfit really does look like something from a Brady Bunch reunion.
Yeah,
the top, okay, but then the pants.
That was what it's. They didn't go together, and there was something about the fact it was always in motion. It was just every time she moved, it was distracting.
It was distracting until Robbie came on the screen.
Oh, he looks so good.
God damn.
I've got to say, and some of you would say everyone's Poodle's type. You're not wrong.
You're not wrong.
You're not wrong. He's exactly my type.
He is, though, the definition of what Poodle in his late 20s and 30s ran around Los Angeles chasing.
That is the truth.
I mean, except for he never was smart enough to fucking date an attorney. Which is why we're here.
That's true. I dated a lot of aspiring artists.
He did. Oh, hold on, y'all. The pizza's calling.
Y'all,
they dropped it off.
Everyone will be happy to know that the pizza got there.
It got there. So Dad has Pizza Hut tonight.
Even though he'll only eat.
Well, but he wanted the thin crust. I had to order a medium, so hopefully a nurse eats it. Anyway, Robbie could come on my face.
Oh, in a second.
I'd
let him, I'd let him choke me. It's official.
I think we've established you would let most people choke you.
No, it's not true. That's not true. It had after you'd have to wine me and dine me unless you look like Robbie.
So now, they basically get to the point where Sean asked Robbie, like, what did you think of that the boat trip date?
Yeah. And he had never seen it, and he admits.
She said, quote, do you think you were being defensive and controlling? And do you think that was too aggressive?
He said, I'm an intense person. I took the wrong approach. And he says, and I will admit, I'm being aggressive. I don't think it was controlling, but I think I was being aggressive.
And Fernanda even said, and she was like, we were both pretty drunk.
You can tell.
Yeah.
Now that, and Ed said something about it. They were both lit. And I did not remember it, but you can tell
now, when
they
I look back,
were.
I'm like, you can both tell they're both drunker than Cooter Brown.
He was wasted.
He was wasted. And I think she was like, yeah, we were having shots and all this. And so he said, I think Robbie said there's an age difference between us. That's a big deal. And he was surprised that she just kind of left.
Right. He was caught off guard.
But basically he said, I just think they both were kind of agreed for them. They were just not right for each other.
Right.
They went on a date and that was it.
I will say one of the most interesting things, and it was such a different thing, and the episode when that happened was almost universal reaction especially for female fans who watched the episode. All the women on stage were watching it and screwing up their faces when they watched that boat scene again.
Oh, all the women were really uncomfortable by it. Yeah.
It was I watched it again, and even after having like discounted a lot of it, I'm like, oh, this was really awful.
It was raw.
This was hard to watch.
Yeah, it was hard to watch.
So they bring in y'all
Noelle.
Her current roommate, Noelle, the German boxer.
Who, surprise.
Who is fine.
They're in a relationship. It's her boyfriend now.
I really do believe this was basically scripted. Not the fact that he became her boyfriend, but I think
they started as roommates. Yeah. Probably.
I think they probably knew each other from. They knew it. Here, let me just. I'll curate this. They maybe knew each other from the gym. She was staying with someone else. They kind of started dating. And they're like, we'll call them roommates for right now.
Yeah.
Because they already had the chemistry at the beginning was weird and flirty.
It was already like way flirty.
Yeah.
You're totally right.
Thank you. Thank you.
His favorite thing to hear.
It is. Where's that pillow?
What's your second favorite thing to hear?
I'm coming.
Wow. Wow.
No, maybe keep the change.
We need to move on.
Or you can keep the change. Here's 100, keep the change.
So Fernanda says that
those are 3 great things to hear. You were right. I'm coming, keep the change.
So Fernanda says that she thinks Robbie needs to be more calm. And Fernanda actually says, Robbie and I are exactly alike.
Which I kind of agree with.
Oh, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
And the thing with Noelle, he is calm. We are complete opposites. And he calms me. And then Sean says, well, we don't know this because we didn't see the scene yet. But she said, when you dated Jonathan, you got jealous a lot.
Yeah.
So how do you feel? And Sean brings up, she was like, there's a lot of beautiful people in Miami.
There really are.
There. What are you going to do with that? And this is where basically Noelle kind of basically says, yeah.
She likes to control things. And Robbie's like, there you go.
There you go. There you go.
And he calls her La Vida Loca.
And Sean says, hold up. How does she act crazy? And he says, well, her favorite phrase is, I'm not happy with you right now.
Yikes.
Y'all, we've heard through things, and you can just tell, like, Fernanda's beautiful, and I think she's great on the show.
Yeah.
she's fucking high maintenance as hell.
She is.
And I bet she can be difficult to deal with in certain situations.
And she was calling people a diva. She's a diva.
I think she's working on that with her,
Yeah.
with her good therapist, but she's a diva.
I think it's probably I think she's probably, even though she didn't have the best childhood, with her mom, I think maybe her grandparents spoiled her a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And Robbie even says, it's a good thing the cameras weren't
We're
there all the time.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I'm not patient. And then
She has a temper.
Noel says, which kind of made me roll my eyes, but he's like, well, women are very emotional. And I thought, I wish she wouldn't have
Because
said that.
Men are from Mars and women
Women
are from Venus.
And then...
And then all the other women are like, yep, we
and
are.
then just to help, Danielle's like, I'm definitely emotional. Mohammed.
And
got a binder, Mohammed.
yeah, that wasn't a good look for
Wasn't a good look.
Wasn't a good look for 2021 to say.
And so it kind of basically ends with like,
She asked Jonathan, she said that Jonathan and
Had
her
a kid.
fiance is having the first child. She's like, good luck.
Good luck.
I've moved on. Robbie is single. Call me.
Robbie is
If
single.
if you want a new start with something different, Robbie, call me. We will have a good time.
That relationship will make me angry because you'll fuck it up.
I will. I'll definitely fuck.
You also have to go to the gym every day because that's what Robbie's into.
I'll pass.
Boy, that turned quickly. Anyway, so y'all, we're going to move on to Molly and Kelly. Before Molly and Kelly, there's a little bit just of...
Ed talking to Liz during the break.
So basically just,
Otherwise known as grooming. Some more grooming.
y'all, we're going to be honest.
We're done talking about Ed.
We're just done talking about them, and we're going to mention some things, but we're not going to cover a lot of them because I just don't have the energy anymore. And I think y'all get it.
We've said about everything that need to be said about Ed and his behavior.
Yeah, exactly.
Just go back to, I don't know, every episode we talked about him.
Yeah.
I think he was saying, he tells her that, or why he looks at her and says, why did we break up again? And she just kind of
like,
stares at him like, I'm so tired of you asking
she's
that.
Like, you left Vegas or
Right.
wanted to leave. He's like, and she's like, you left me. And he's like, but you accepted it. Why do you torture? It's just,
I think
I can't.
he says, he's like, when I asked you out, why don't you just tell me to fuck off? And I wrote down, he's actually blaming her for the entire relationship.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Just when I think he can't get worse. And Kyle and Kim from Cray Cray are just so over him too.
Kim asked if we could do a collab episode of just bitching about Ed for an hour. I don't know if I could.
Well,
do
they refuse to call him Big Ed because they don't want to brand him, and I kind of agree. We should just never say Big Ed again.
Let's move on.
Ed.
Let's talk about Molly and Kelly. So Molly is again, y'all. We
We were all shocked to see them there.
They were very lovey-dovey the whole time, and she said that they're looking at houses to buy.
Great choice.
And then they bring up the whole kids thing again, and Kelly's like, "Well," or Molly said, "Well, Kelly said that Janet Jackson has kids, so maybe we can."
She also has access to
Janet Jackson
the
has
best.
millions of fucking doctors,
Yeah.
and Molly's kind of trying to. She's explained she goes into a long explanation about her eggs that just made me want deviled eggs.
She's like, you put them in the gray and they get gray in the refrigerator.
And they talk about you gotta make egg salad. I love Molly, but that made me hungry for eggs. And so again,
My eggs ain't fresh.
and then again, the wise person from the corner, Danielle, says, "I understand where she's coming from. I can't have kids no more. And there's always kids in the world that need a parent. Maybe they can adopt." And I went,
It's just since I've been with the kids' dad.
and so Sean says, "Kelly, are you okay not having a biological kid?" And this was kind of a moment because he paused for a long time.
Yeah, and y'all, when you see someone pause like that, that means they're considering your feelings, and they're probably
Don't want to say the truth.
two things are going to come out of their mouth. Either an obscuration of the truth that they think you kind of want to hear, or they're trying to think of a nice way to lie to you or let you down easy.
I mean, Molly even said, I even asked him if there's anybody out there who wants to have kid, we could pay him to have
And this
the
is
baby.
weird because
Again, Sean's face, but that's weird.
it's like, what?
And so, and Kelly's like, no, I'm not having this random kid. And so it's like you said, I feel like you said this earlier before we started. It's just, what are they doing? Like, I don't know.
This is so misguided, y'all. This relationship makes me sad because here's the thing. When you're at a certain point in your life, like she is and he is, he's in his 40s, right?
Yeah.
So there are two things they know.
Actually, he's in his 30s, I think.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. There are two things they know. Let's go through, there's a couple things they know. The things that we know for sure. What is that Wally Lamb book? I know this much is true or something.
One, his brother could fuck me.
Well, that's a given.
Okay.
One, Kelly definitely wants kids one day.
Yeah.
That is a definite.
True.
That's not something he wants to forego. In other words, if they talked in absolutes about they really want, notice what I just said, absolutes, not generalities like she likes to. She'll say, we're just going to make it work. We're loving where things are right now. So if you talk in absolutes, absolute number one, he wants children.
Yes.
Absolute number two, he's almost certainly going to want biological children.
He said maybe not, but yes, it's almost
or a surrogate. Mm-hmm. So absolute three, she cannot have biological children.
Well, yeah, but I wanted Sean to say it and Sean to ask her, because I feel like on the testimonials behind the camera without him, she said, I don't want to have. So to me, it's like, it's almost, I feel like they're taking away Molly's choice of, she's choosing not to have kids, well, because she can have kids. But to me...
But it's also, she does not want more children.
Tubes tied, no tied, whatever. If you say, I do not want to carry and have any more children, believe that woman. That's the fun. And like, to me, I feel like that's the end of the conversation for her.
I think it's less of taking away her choice than she doesn't think that choice is important. That people have, like, growing up in the South, and that she thinks she needs an actual physical reason to say she can't have children.
And that was the whole point of her brother Mario coming on, is that Mario just confirmed... his brother Mario coming on was just kind of... And Kelly said, he's a truth doctor. Mario basically just said... He said, on one side...
He's going to want kids.
He's happier with Molly. He's kinder. You can tell that he really loves her. But... He's going to want to have kids. That's what he's going to want to do.
So, and then they ask her to respond to that. And she's like, well, I love him enough to let him go. But then they're still holding hands. We're still living in a world of generalities. And it makes me angry.
I just think they both really care for one another. And I think they're trying to beat the dead horse. Like, how's it going to work?
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
They're just treading water until one of them dies.
But, I mean, I think a lot of people do that. They're like, I know that because sometimes lining up with somebody you love and you both have the same goals in life is not an easy thing to do.
I totally agree with you. But
I'm agreeing with you. But
I'm saying with all signs pointing to that, it's even the fact that Molly, who has somewhat a little bit more self-awareness than a lot of people do, could not say, I'm aware that this might not be going anywhere for some people, but we are enjoying it right now. Yeah. It's just, and also for someone like Kelly, who seems to be in charge of things, he is just okay with having his own agency taken away. Yeah. Yeah. And it's weird.
It's weird. Yeah. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up.
I would wish them to be together because I think they complement each other. But what I don't want is Kelly deciding in 4 years after them been together or getting married or maybe even not, saying, you know, I've thought about it and I really want to have children.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, the other question is, should they be grateful for the 4 years they had, or should he make a preemptive exit now? So it's a weird thing to even talk about. That's why you should talk about your long-term goals with someone who you've been seeing. Like if you've been seeing someone for 8 months or something, or 6 to 8 months, maybe have that conversation.
Letting go. There's nothing in your way now. Oh, letting go.
What is that song?
There's room enough to fly.
Is this another B-side country song?
No, that's Susie Boggess. But I think that is on Maddie's Honkin' Tonkin' mix. If it's not, it should be.
How long is this mix?
5 hours. Gets me from Houston to Ardmore. Not kidding. My dad loves it. Anyway.
I think I had that Susie Boggess album.
I'm sure you did.
So
y'all, he leaves. We're going to talk about Luis. I just want to say, because we have to bring it up.
They're talking about Ed's vasectomy that he...
Because they talk about Ed's vasectomy. Y'all, they graphically show Ed, this was on Bearzall, going into a sperm depository.
Sperm bank, not a depository.
A sperm bank.
Not like the book depository with
Whatever.
Oswald killed Kennedy.
I've been there. Been there.
With your teacher who was obsessed with it?
Mr. Myers, who fell up the hill. He fell on the grassy knoll and got mud all over his pants. Anyway.
Not the first tragedy that happened there.
No. They're going to... he goes in there and he's like... Ed's making his jokes like, oh, well...
Two hands. He has to use
2 hands
to have heavy lifting.
Then he even says, like, I can't use lube, so I have to dry dog this or whatever. And then, y'all, it cuts to him later. He's sweating all over his face.
Mortified.
And then he holds up his cup with his semen in it.
And, well, obviously we don't see it.
And that's when I screamed, oh, come on. And I love it that Sean Robinson, you know, we've been watching a lot of reality television. Sean Robinson, God bless her, she can still be shocked. She still can be shocked.
She covers her face.
She covers her. I think she was more embarrassed.
She was.
Meanwhile...
God bless. Sean Robinson has a purity still.
This is what the sissy messaged me about. She said... She's like, because I put an Instagram thing about Ed being so gross. She said, to be fair, some of the things you and Poodle have said on your podcast is pretty disgusting. You've talked a lot about semen going in and out of you.
I don't remember that. Not familiar.
And I was like, we're sex positive.
Not familiar. It's okay when we say it. We're jokey.
We're jokey. I mean...
But I will say, I will never hold up a piece of on camera. I will never hold up a cup that I have jizzed into.
No.
I can make that promise.
I can make sure you make that promise.
I will make that oath to all of you that if you watch our intimate portrait, I will never hold up a jizz-filled container.
Thank you.
That's about all I could say.
'Cause after Nipplegate, we were worried.
People came to me and said I loved that nipple.
Great. Let's move on. There's not a lot for this. Like, Luis came on, and the only thing I really kind of came from this whole Luis thing, it's like, you're right. There was nothing to do, and it was all just kind of, you know, they've been broken up for 3 years, and, like, he went to New Jersey after she kicked him out with his brother, and he's like, basically, Luis feels like she needs to apologize to him, and I have to say, now Molly's leg was shaking. You could tell Molly was pissed.
She was.
She was a class fucking act in this whole
Yeah,
thing.
I agree.
Like, she didn't even falter.
There was no screaming. There was no, like, Debbie action.
And she even said, he said, actually, when the divorce was final, 3 days later, he needed copies of it so he could get married. And Louise is like, that's none of your business.
She held it together, and Luis
We haven't
came
watched
off,
their season.
Luis came off looking like the asshole.
He looked like a piece of shit.
Yeah, he looked dirty.
And so he was like, he's like,
The one big reveal is she's still following him on social
Instagram.
media,
And Kelly was like, why are you following? And
which is a good question.
I understand her. I mean, she should have unfollowed him. Maybe she follows a lot of people and she just doesn't realize that she still follows him.
That's a fair question. And if I was Kelly, I would say, why are you even doing it?
So now,
Especially an ex-husband.
but y'all, it's shady as fuck because Sean Robinson says, so Louise, what's your immigration status? I don't want to talk about that.
I don't want to talk about that. And then everyone's like, get the fuck off. And then Sean Robinson's like, thank you for coming, Louise.
Thank you for coming. So basically, he was only there to say, she follows me on Instagram. And that's it. And Molly was like, even this is kind of at the very end, like when they're getting ready to leave. And Kelly's like, do you feel like you got closure? And she said, I already had closure.
I didn't need it.
He's a punk.
And like we said before, you guys,
Class act.
sometimes you don't need closure you don't need the other person to get
you don't
closure.
need that. No.
You can make that, like, let's say someone either, God forbid, abused you when you were young. You don't have to confront your abuser.
You can, but you don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't need that for closure.
Yeah.
If you feel like you do, great.
Great.
But you don't need
these-
closure.
I think a lot of that comes from AA, and you go like one of the steps of AA
Is making amends.
Making amends, and so it kind of came like people think now, and that was a big thing of therapists in the 80s. Like, you need to confront them to have closure.
But that's for the other person
It's-
as well.
It's up to you. It's your
Right.
decision. What works for you?
Yeah. Yeah, that whole
I
idea.
want nachos.
Ooh, you know what I've been wanting lately?
What?
Taco Bell.
Oh.
I know, and it's so wrong.
I wanted it, and we drove through, and all the things that I want are gone. And I just drove on and
Really?
didn't even order. There's no double-decker tacos anymore.
I think you're
They're
stuck in
gone.
the 90s.
They're gone. There's no Nacho Supremes. They're gone.
You know what there still is?
What?
Cheesy Gordita Crunch.
I don't like that. My boyfriend does, but that's not my
They're
thing.
delicious.
I'm not. Now, if they
Although
make,
I feel like a garbage plate when
oh
I
yeah,
eat them.
if they bring the Cool Ranch Dorito back or taco back, I might be tempted.
They don't have those
or
anymore?
the cheese. I don't think they do.
You mean Locos Tacos?
Boy, really knows everything by name at Taco Bell. Wow. That's. I mean, Colt's saying go away, and Kelly says, "Well, after this, you can unfollow him." And Molly's like, "Yeah, I will."
There is a little bit more about Ed and Liz. We don't really need to go into it that much. We do find out that Ed is in therapy, and he says, I'm going to need at least 6 more months.
And I screamed,
6 years.
6 years!
Or 60 years.
That's what I screamed, 6 years.
That's exactly what I wrote.
6 months won't do it.
6
he
years,
even
twice
said-
a week, y'all.
I just want to say, if you watch this and you take anything away from this, you see the process of Liz being so groomed by this person, she can't even stand up for herself.
And he knows exactly what to say, you guys.
And if you have a friend that's in this situation, instead of kind of saying, just stand up for yourself,
You can't.
don't shame them because they probably feel a lot of shame that they're not able to speak. Instead, support them and help them find better tools for that so they can do that.
That's a great point.
Exactly.
Not to shame your friends, not saying, I can't believe you're going back with that guy. If you have a friend or a family member who's in a relationship that's just not good for them, whether it's abusive or you just know it's not healthy for them.
Yes.
Don't shame them. Find a way to be an ally for them.
Yes.
And find a way.
A non-judgmental ally.
Right. And because you guys, there's nothing you can do to prevent someone from going back to an abusive relationship.
No.
There's nothing you can do. Hear that if it's your sister or your friend. There's no responsibility of yours. You can just be there as a non-judgmental friend.
I mean, y'all, Fernanda even said, Ed said my roommate was hot and like he said she was pretty and he would like to see her or meet her. He
And
said
Liz is
that
like,
like 2 hours before. And Liz is like, well, he's technically single. And I went, wow. So it just, Fernando, you could tell, was really trying because she's learning stuff in therapy. And
Right.
kudos to Fernando. I will say, Fernanda's high maintenance, but I think she's a caring person. And I think she's like,
Yeah.
girl. Like, she would hear her say things like during their segment, oh, honey. Like,
Yeah.
she was just really felt bad for her. And it was just, maybe they'll be friends.
Did you see at the end where Fernanda and Liz were hugging?
Yeah. And Fernando was like, leave his ass.
Yeah.
Leave him. Leave him.
I do love that Fernanda has found her power.
I like Fernanda.
I really
a lot.
love it.
Like I said, I think she's a diva, but I like her.
No, she's definitely the bright spot of this season, along with
Colt
and Danielle.
What the fuck?
Everybody else has been just garbage. I don't know. Molly's tried. I will say, I think Molly probably knows the least about relationships and being single.
I love Molly, and she's one of my favorite people on this season. But I feel she is lucky that she is with Kelly,
Right.
Because man, I would worry about her getting with another piece of shit guy again.
Yep. Totally. So Sean, they're basically talking to Liz and Ed, and then at the end he said, Ed, this was what kind of broke me. And this is when I finally went, I was watching this and I went, and Sean's like, Ed, you haven't answered. Do you want to give this another shot with Liz? And he's like, the only thing that gives me pause. And I went, that's the thing. Testing even more boundaries.
Yeah.
Even pushing it further. Because, and he's like, she would have to agree to do even more therapy, even more things where I can control her.
Yep.
Even more things, because even with therapy, he could use things they say in therapy against her.
So can you agree to 6 months of therapy with me or 3 sessions?
Can you imagine how awful that would be with Ed?
Horrible.
Just crying the whole time.
I hope he has a good therapist that says, well, I don't care anymore. I'm so like my head becomes full and hurts when I talk about him.
Y'all, I hate to say this. This may be news for you. There is going to be a second season of The Single Life, and Ed is on it.
Oh, he'll be on it because he's very popular on Cameo. There are people that like Ed.
I've heard from a few of them, but like I said, that's why I wanted to talk about. I was talking about the first time I kind of went off about him was when someone sent me an Instagram thing that says, I know you guys don't like him, but I think he's generally harmless, unlike a lot of the other men in the 90-Day universe. And I said, this is the thing. He's actually a lot more dangerous because of the way he looks.
Do we know who else is going to be on?
Nope.
I'm glad they're doing it. It was a good season.
It was a good season. I hope
it was a great season.
Who would we like to see? I'd like to see.
My head hurts from Ed. I don't know.
I think I'd like to see someone I'd love to see Yamir.
Yeah.
Unless he's married again.
No, he's not. I'd like to see Yamir. I would like to see Nikki after she divorces Mark.
That's not going to happen. She's 6 feet underground as far as we know.
Yeah, I don't remember who's single.
Think about recent seasons. Maybe someone like
Rose. I'd love to see Rose.
That would be great.
Love to see Rose. Love to see her.
I don't know if they can do that with the foreigners.
I'd love to see Australian. What's her name?
Erica. That's what I was going to say. I don't know if they can do it with foreigners though.
Yeah, I could see them doing it with Stephanie.
I would see that. Yeah. I wouldn't like it, but they would. So Stephanie would be a definite.
Yeah.
She would be more than willing to do it.
She's a YouTube star.
Who else? No, Darcy and Stacey. They're fine.
I can't think of anybody right now. I'm telling you.
Come on, who do you think would be good for the next Single Life?
We're tired today. It's hot in LA today, and it fucked up our brains.
I know we're both
like big head.
Y'all, that is putting a lid on this.
Putting a lid.
We're gonna put the rest in the vault.
We're putting a butt plug on it. So
That's
you
the
can go to
single life.
you can go to realitygatespodcast.com for find us on Cameo if you need that. You can also hit us up on Instagram and Twitter. And lastly, if you enjoyed this and you listened to the whole thing, leave a 5-star review
Please.
on Apple Podcasts.
If you don't know what to say, right, keep going, Queens.
because we greatly appreciate it. We call these people lonely hearts,
Oh, God.
because aren't we all just lonely hearts looking for love in all the wrong places? Go.
Yes. Oh, God. What do I even say about this?
I know.
Go ahead.
And if you want to show your cum on national television,
Robbie,
Robbie,
if you
if you want to show your cum on Poodle's face,
call us.
call us.